This conference will now be recorded.
Nice. So,
There you go.
okay, perfect. All right, lights, camera, action. Here we go. So this is a high level, super high level, really solution architecture for the cloud, and it'll help us understand what's going to happen when we deploy Prophix. So Prophix is hosted in Amazon's infrastructure. It's single tenant. All the data traffic that moves from your on-prem system to the bank to Prophix are encrypted. The traffic from our web browser client user interface to Prophix is also encrypted. The data that sits inside of Prophix is encrypted both in our staging, where the data is going to land, and in Prophix databases itself. So summary, all data in transit encrypted, all data at rest encrypted, traffic from the web browser to Prophix Cloud is encrypted. In order for Prophix Cloud to make a secure connection to the data on premise, we use an agent. It's really a communication agent. It has to get installed behind the firewall on the same network endpoint, or the same network, the same endpoint as where the system is. And one agent can actually work with as many systems on that same network. The agent is just a communication agent. No data will reside on it. It really brokers the communication from our cloud over to the endpoint system. It also maintains a heartbeat to make sure that there's connectivity between the two. And to further the security layer, we're going to whitelist the endpoint of that network endpoint on our cloud, so that only traffic from that IP or block of IPs is allowed in. Any other traffic will not be allowed. Okay. And then once it's set up, connectivity is similar to as you would think about on-prem. It's SQL database. It's an ODBC type connection. Really any ODBC compliant database will be able to connect to on-prem, or we can pull a flat file or an Excel file using that same agent. As well, that same agent can allow us to actually push some data back on-prem if we need to, because oftentimes customers want to put the data, for example, back into their ERP or have other downstream uses of it. So I'm going to pause for a second. Does that help address the question?
It does, but now that leads me to another question. The next question would be, is it possible to have this Prophix Cloud on our prem? That way the data stays within our network and doesn't have to go out and come back in.
Interesting. So there's a couple of thoughts. One is, well, it's interesting, and I understand it's so Prophix as a company really only offers Prophix Cloud, right? We have a legacy on-prem business because we've been around for 30 years, but our offering today is really only cloud. And we say that because if we want to make the investments that we're making today on the things you see on the screen here on the left side, all the technology is available in the cloud, and it's available in the cloud at a reasonable price for our market base, which is the mid-market. That's why we're a cloud-only company, right? So the technology is available, as I said, hosted on Amazon.
Yeah, so let me jump in, Rob,
yeah.
to have. Yeah, so the Prophix solution is just like the Tableau solution is only a cloud solution. Even the Tableau is moving off on premise. So the whole direction of the industry, we're even doing, the government of Barbados, the whole financial system is in the cloud. So that's the way applications are today. However, you should be really confident it's being done on Amazon and not on some other ones like Azure or Oracle or Google. I can send you information about Amazon, which is the most secure unhacked system that is available.
And that's a good point. Business systems today can only be really acquired, procured, on cloud. And it's a really important point. Security was and is the number one thing that we keep in mind. I mean, as I said, we're 30 years old. We were an on-prem company. When we started our cloud journey, Christopher was the first person we hired. Right? That's what security means to us. And it's not just technology. There's very tight controls around access to environment, etc.
Yeah,
Rob, why don't I jump in? Why don't I jump in just for a moment here regarding security?
Right.
So first and foremost,
let me just make one comment, Chris.
Go.
Yeah, sorry about that. I have to point out that the data is residing in Canada and is not in the US. So we have a specific Amazon instance for Prophix in Canada, which is a better factor for you. I'll pass it over now. It's back to Chris.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Christopher Laxo. I'm the Director of Information Security for Prophix Cloud. So I just wanted to expand upon the security front. And as Rob has said, all of the data, after it leaves your premise and into our cloud, is number one, it's encrypted. So it's encrypted in transit using TLS version 1.2. And it's encrypted at rest using an encryption algorithm called AES 256. The cloud itself was built, I was hired on as the cloud was really in its incubation stage to ensure the security controls. And my background is banking and financial institutions. I've worked with IBM as an information security executive and also have worked offshore with numerous banks. I lived and worked in Bermuda for years. And one of my I guess number one reasons for joining Prophix was that I had a hand in building out a secured solution that wasn't encumbered by any legacy. And a lot of my old customers in the IBM days and the banking days would have legacy equipment. And even though we all knew that appropriate security controls needed to be wrapped around some of these systems, we couldn't do that. And I'll give you an example. One of those is the OS 390 or the mainframes and encrypting backend traffic. So that notwithstanding, we built the Prophix Cloud with a security-first posture. So what does that mean? Well, we audit and put a security framework in place called ISO 27001 2013. And we are certified. That is the global standard, really, that's recognized for security assurance, not only in the cloud space, but for information security in general. Now, using that framework, we deployed the cloud with all of the effective security controls that we have in place, and also elected to go about becoming SOC 2 Type 2 compliant and ISAE 3402 compliant. And why is that important? Well, that's really the standard for service organizations providing cloud services right now to ensure that they're secure. They're audited by a third party, independent, and an independent opinion on the security posture of Prophix Cloud. And we took it one step further. Most of our competitors only perform those audits on a yearly basis. We perform those audits every 6 months. And that means if there's a control or a security area that isn't functioning properly, our customers know about it and we know about it before that year spit time frame or that 12-month time frame. So that tighter interval means we have tighter security controls. We're also Trust E certified, which is a privacy certification provided by TrustArc to ensure that we're in line with privacy expectations and laws throughout the globe, not just in North America. One of the other areas that I point out is that our SOC 2 Type 2 is based on all 5 of the trust services principles. Most companies only base their SOC reports on 3 of those principles. Prophix has based it on all of the 5 that are available. And that would be confidentiality, availability, processing integrity, and security. And in terms of understanding how that relates to your customer instance or product instance, AWS has all of these certifications. And a lot of product vendors are reliant upon AWS certifications, but we decided we're doing this one better. we're going to obtain our own SOC 2 Type 2 to maintain that security posture throughout the chain of vendors that are providing you services with Prophix. Now, all of these reports are available for you to read. We can certainly send them to you if you haven't received them yet. Additionally, if you are to direct your browsers at some point in time to https://trust.prophix.com, all of this is outlined nice and neatly for you in a website. And really, that's a quick overview of our security posture and our current stance for Prophix Cloud. One additional item, we can locate your instance anywhere in any region in the globe, and probably Canada is the best for you to locate your instance in, given proximity to the Bahamas and also our data laws, and not having your Bahamian data residing within the United States. But that notwithstanding, we can locate anywhere that AWS has a region globally. That includes South America and Africa. So really, that's my quick overview of security. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Yeah, no, this is extremely.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, yeah, I've had my fair share of all this ISAE and SOC reports, getting audited.
Absolutely.
And we had to provide this kind of reports and how we rely on them and how we review them to our external auditors. So this gives a lot of comfort and confidence really to the process. I guess the last two things I have left on my side would be, and I don't know, April, if you can expand on this as well. Data residing in Canada, right? So does that mean that so when Prophix Cloud is integrated or connected into our system, FlexCube and all our core banking suite of systems, does that mean that that entire data then resides in Canada?
Let me drop here. Let me try and answer that. And I apologize, I don't think I introduced myself. I'm the Director of Advanced Applications at Prophix, and like Chris, I've been architecting and delivering solutions like this for 20 plus years. The beauty of a CPM platform is it only needs specific data in order to maintain requirements. So in this case, for a CPM finance platform, it'll be your general ledger data, potentially some sub-ledger data, because I don't have the details in front of me, but it's very specific. And that is the only data that we'll need and that we'll be integrating. And under no circumstances do we need any data that is identifiable to an entity. So all the data that we use will be non-identifiable.
Yeah, and basically no customer identifiable information.
That's correct. Yeah.
We do not want it. My team knows very well that if it comes up, that we do not need it in the process of creating budgets and forecasts and reports.
Okay. I guess I just really need to hear that, because having that integration directly into system, you would have access to all customer information as well. And I just want to make sure that that is not one of those data that will be sitting outside of the Bahamas. That's really what I need
Correct.
to be very clear about.
No, that is correct. That we've been like I said, we've been in business for 30 years and got 3,000 customers around the world, including financial institutions. So this is very, very dear to us. Like, if it comes up in conversation with my team, they know that they'll build a system that does not need and will not use identifiable data, and still be able to do budgeting, planning, etc. at the level we need.
Perfect. Yes. and that addresses my concern. And my last point is more of the logistic question. Once we go into implementation, what would be the, I think, let's say the first 3 steps involving IT?
Okay. So I'll go back to this diagram for a second. Forgive me, I'm just, oops. There's not a lot, so there's really, there's not a lot of work that IT needs to do to get this up. So one is, obviously we install the agent, the integration agent, that's one piece. You know, supply us this set of IP addresses we need to whitelist on our side. And really the third, and then the third thing is if you're using single sign-on and it's a SAML 2 provider, you know, likely we can incorporate single sign-on into the solution. So there's a little bit of a handshake set up there. And then when we decide on what data, the actual data we need and what system, you'd have to provide appropriate credentials into that system in terms of the data integration. After that, there's really not much to do from a system implementation perspective.
Okay, great. Those are really my points for this morning, for this call. Thank you so much for all this information, clarification, and time. These are extremely helpful. April, do you have anything else on your side?
No, I don't have anything. Any other questions? They answered all the questions for me.
Excellent. Well, if you have other questions, please feel free to email us. We are more than happy to help you with those.
Okay, perfect. Again, thank you so much, Victor and the rest of the team. And we will definitely, talk some more. I have several steps on my side, and Victor, I think I coordinate with you and Kat directly on this. So you'll definitely hear back from me. Again, thank you so much. Keep safe, everyone.
You too.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Yes, have a great